Hey there, listeners. Pavi Colin here. Before we get into the episode, I wanted to let you all know that we are going to be changing our name, and you should see that starting this episode. We're now going to be called Two Grooms, One Plot. We love the old name, Then a Moment, but it was a little bit obscure, and we thought we could be clearer with our branding if we told everybody that we're two married gay guys talking about stories. So hopefully that clears some things up. We're going to be changing all the socials, and you should see that coming out soon. So all of you who came to find Then a Moment and were afraid you were in the wrong place, don't you worry. You are in the right place, and it's going to be the same show as always. I hope you enjoy this episode, and we'll see you on the other side. Warning, this podcast typically features spoilers and strong opinions. Proceed with caution. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Two Grooms, One Plot, formerly known as Then a Moment, the podcast where two lifelong storytellers who married each other talk about stories. My name is Pavi Colin. I am audiobook narrator, author, actor extraordinaire.
Yeah, and I'm Colin Funk, actor extraordinaire, huh? Wow. I'm Colin Funk. I am a childhood development expert and teaching artist extraordinaire.
There we go. You get to make your own resume. So
apparently.
Today we're going to be talking about Five Nights at Freddy's, the new film starring Josh Hutcherson, based on the video game
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, the video game series. But before we do that, let's talk about our moment of the week, shall we?
Yes.
You've thought of one, right?
Oh my God. I absolutely have not.
Okay, so I'll go first while you think and not listen to anything I say.
I need a second.
Okay, you think.
What's yours?
Okay.
You just go.
Okay, mine, so I've been playing this video game called Immortals Phoenix Rising. It's really good. It's cross-platform. And it's like a open world RPG-ish action game, but it's all like Greek mythology. And the gameplay is really fun. The puzzles are really fun. But I was, at first, really didn't like the storytelling device that they were using. Where it's like at the beginning, you have like Zeus is like, oh no, the Titans are back and I'm in trouble. Prometheus, help me. So he goes to like see Prometheus, whom notoriously he chained up and has like a vulture eat his liver every day or something, right?
Yeah,
That's that whole thing. I don't read up your Greek mythology. It's good stuff.
So much.
I know there's so much, which incidentally is where this is going. Okay. So, Zeus is like, Prometheus, I need your help because you've helped us before and now I need your help again. And he's like, well, let me tell you a story. And then he starts telling you a story about Phoenix, which is the character you play. Okay. So as you're playing, you're basically playing out the story that Prometheus is telling Zeus right now.
Oh, okay.
And what I didn't like was there was like a tonal weirdness, like it's like very jokey. There's a little bit of swearing. It's a little anachronistic. And my moment of the week was I warmed up to it because now like I was very excited to like reach this island where there's like a throne, because one of the cool things that happens when you go to different places and do different puzzles, they're all themed to actual Greek myths, actual stories out of the full pantheon. And so there's like this story of like Hephaestus trapping Hera in a throne, and like you find the throne and then you hear a voiceover of Prometheus telling the story, and then Zeus with his like stupid jokey commentary about it. And now I'm like, okay, the tone has kind of like settled on me. That's my moment.
Great. My moment is I have been every now and then I revisit some of Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And I mean, if we're talking about moments, Always Sunny is like filled with excellent moments. And I just coming back to this one moment that I can watch over and over again, and it is perfect, and I love it.
What moment is that?
There's a moment where Dee, Dennis, and their dad, Frank. Frank.
I don't even like the show, and I know their names. Come on.
I know. My brain is just... It's just taking a second right now. Yes, Dee, Dennis, and Frank are, they're in a psychiatrist's office. Who knows what they're trying to do? Frank is trying to find Frog Boy. Dee is trying to get like diagnosed with schizophrenia.
What is this show?
Who knows?
So freaking weird. Okay.
But it's I don't remember what Dennis's, motivation was, because it doesn't matter,
and he's got a plan.
They always are scheming, they're always planning, but they're all doing something completely different. And the one thing I love about the show is most of it is just watching other people react to them being fucking insane. They're crazy. But Frank freaks out and he decides he has an epiphany and leaves because he's gonna go find Frog Boy. Dee starts doing this Blanche from Streetcar Named Desire impression so that she could convince this psychiatrist that she's schizophrenic, and Dee just snaps on her.
Dennis snaps on her.
Oh my gosh, my brain is not saying the right words. Dennis snaps at Dee, and just his monologue, it's unhinged.
Gold. Maybe we'll drop it here if we can.
Yeah, it is so funny. He talks about turning her into skin luggage.
Oh my God.
The best line is that.
Are you?
Of course not. I don't have a
it's like, are you saying you have a collection of skin luggage?
No, I don't have a collection of skin luggage. Think of the smell. You haven't thought of the smell, you bitch. And he just yells it at her.
He is so good at being angry. My goodness.
Vitriol. I'm like, I don't know how you can say that line and be that, I don't get it.
And not just laugh every time. Which you can find the outtakes, and they kind of did.
There are bloopers on that scene, yes. Those bloopers are very, very funny.
Oh,
because that monologue is nuts, and
it's nuts. So yeah,
I cannot help but watch it over and over again. Yeah. I will on occasion just bring up the clip and watch it on its own because it's amazing.
You haven't thought of the smell, you bitch. God damn it, Dutch. Oh man, I know that's different, but
they also are amazing at swearing.
They really are the best. I mean, it's just so satisfying.
Was a skill until I watched that show.
So satisfying.
So good at it.
Yeah.
I love it. Anyway, that was my moment.
Wonderful. It's a good moment. Now I'm imagining all the hate mail we'll get for me not liking Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Yet I might like it.
You haven't
someday.
Really watched it.
That's true. I haven't. And the one that I did watch all the way through was the one where they're at Coney Island and her hair gets ripped out, and that was incredible. That
episode is so good.
It's
wild.
Again, it's nuts.
I love that show. I love it.
Let's get to our topic though. Five Nights at Freddy's.
For that switch hit synopsis.
All right. Where does it start?
It starts. I don't remember.
So the scene opens at Freddy's, and there's you basically witness the
very horror trope.
Previous security guard gets basically murdered by creepy animatronic thing, which we don't maybe know at that point.
I don't know if he's murdered. We don't know that.
But yeah, I guess we don't see him again.
We don't see him again. It's implied.
Yeah. Premise: there's this kind of down on his luck security guard with a dark past. He lost his brother and kind of blames himself.
Mm-hmm. But he's in possession of his sister.
Yes, he is his younger sister's guardian now. So he's kind of got this motivation, but he's like loses his job because he goes nutso on someone he thinks is abducting a child because he's like really quick to trigger. And so he needs a new job, gets this job from creepy job counselor who's just broadcasting to everyone that he is the villain, and gets this job.
Spoilers, but
yeah,
yes,
I know.
But it is pretty obvious.
I'm like, okay, so Shaggy from the Scooby-Doo movie is in this film being creepy. Is he maybe
good for Matthew Lillard?
Yeah, good job him.
Getting some work again.
Yeah,
it's been a.
Mike gets the job at Freddy's. It's like an overnight thing, and it's like this. It's a defunct. It's a defunct.
Chuck E. Cheese.
Chuck E. Cheese, basically. Yeah.
Called Freddy Fazbear's.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. And apparently there was like some mysterious disappearances in the 80s, and it's been shut down since, but nobody wanted to like tear the thing down, and they have some like weak excuse about why that is. So the owners are nostalgic about it, and it's like the bad guy and blah 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 blah.
But it's not a weak excuse. Like
no, I know. I am showing my colors again here. Okay, so we watch him kind of like start his job, learning about like how creepy these animatronic things are. There's some plot by his aunt to take possession of his sister.
That's why he took the job.
That is why he took the job, because he needed one. Otherwise, he would lose guardianship.
Custody of his sister.
And his aunt wants it for some reason, wants the check. She's kind of a bitch. She's not great. But she hires people to like try to like ruin his job. They all get murdered, and one of them happens to be the babysitter. So now he has to like bring his sister to work with him.
Right, but in the meantime, there's been a police officer that keeps visiting.
Yeah.
Who seems to know a little bit too much.
Yeah.
Is like giving him tips and tricks about the place.
Yeah. Spending a lot of time there with him. I'm like, don't you have anything else to do on your beat? Is this your only beat?
It's unclear if that first time that she is there, if she is there for like the full amount of time that he's there. I don't know. It's unclear. Or if she left and like just popped back by in the morning.
Right.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Or if that was the end of the night. I
don't know.
Unclear.
Don't know. So he's taken his sister there, and then you find out that she's been like having she has these imaginary friends that he's been kind of like making fun of her for.
She's been drawing these imaginary friends.
And turns out they're like ghosts that live in the animatronic robots that are these creepy animal things.
Animatronics.
Animatrons, yeah. It's like a bear, a duck, a fox, and a rabbit, and then they're bunny, and then there's like the bad evil bunny. Anyway, so you find out that that's her friends, and then he's also like dreaming about, like, he uses this method to like, meanwhile, the whole time he's just like sleeping on the job because he wants to remember who took his brother, because he witnessed the whole thing, and he's sure that he remembers the face, but he's like has to like dream the same dream every night. So every single night he's been dreaming the event
he's reliving the event of watching his brother get abducted.
Right. And with the
hope that he will actually remember this person's face.
Yeah. And so he's like, then starts dreaming also about the children who have disappeared.
Children start showing up.
They start showing up in his dreams. And then so they're like, oh my gosh, those are also her friends, and also in the animatrons. And now there's this question about like who put them there and how did that happen, and then it's like very quickly is revealed it's the police officer's father is this.
Very quickly revealed.
Well, I guess it's later. Just like very quickly after we kind of have that discovery, it becomes like, what is it? Oh, they're ghosts in the machines. How do they get there? Well, my dad is the murderer, says the police officer,
Right.
Vanessa. She's like, well, that was my dad, and he murdered all these kids and put their bodies in these animatrons. And then, during the whole climax, the ghosts are offering Mike to live with his brother in his dreams forever, and to right this wrong, right this failure from the past.
Yeah.
And then the price is they want his sister.
They're going to take his sister.
They're going to take
which at first he's like, okay, but then quickly was like, no.
Yeah, never mind. That's
that was
not
a mistake,
right. Yeah.
But then the ghosts are already in action, and so he has to stop the ghosts from actually taking his sister out of his dream state. He has to wake up and go rescue his sister from the animatronics that are already on their way to grab her in the real world.
Right. And then Steve, the creepy guide, career counselor, shows up in his bunny suit, and starts controlling the animatrons. And
because he has he's the one who's telling them what to do, essentially.
Yeah, right.
He's
making them bad people, but they're not bad. They're not. They're just children who are convinced of something by this evil man, and they fight him off. And eventually, he empowers his sister to
draw a picture.
Yeah, draw a picture about what actually happened.
Yeah,
this guy
tell the
ghosts
that
this
he
guy
was
murdered.
Actually, the murderer, and not someone to be listening to. And
and so then they
through pictures, which is the thing that they set up at the beginning.
Right. And then they turn on him. The animatrons turn on him, and then the whole place starts to collapse or something.
Does it?
Something like that.
Collapse?
There's a lot of shaking and.
It's unclear. Yeah,
it's unclear. Vanessa gets stabbed, but survives. Presumably, she's in a coma at the end.
Yeah,
but
she survives at least.
Meanwhile, at some point the aunt is knocked out or killed. Not sure. We don't see that resolve, but we do see that Mike and Abby, his sister, are reunited in the end, and she's doing really well in school, and everything is happily ever after.
So that's the story.
That's the story.
Yeah.
So what did we know about this coming in?
Absolutely zip.
Yeah.
I had never heard of the video game. Because I guess I'm too old. Apparently, it's very popular with
the children. Yeah, I hadn't either in
Gen
hindsight.
Z, because I know call them children still, but
I know, right? I did play a little bit of it just recently after seeing it. And I had thought maybe I had seen twitches of this before, but that was a different game, I think, where you're crawling through tunnels and stuff, and something's chasing you, and you have to keep running, and it was a different game, but it has a similar vibe.
Well, right, it's right.
This was very different and just awful. Oh my God.
Just awful. How?
The game is terrifying and so stressful.
Yes. That's the whole thing. Apparently I've just looked up what's the deal with the video game, and
my God.
That seems to be it is just very scary and very stressful, and things just keep popping up, and you're I don't know what to do and where to go and how to do this.
It's so hard to see anything. You have to look really close, and then there's something in your face, and it's because it's they
it's Skinamarink, but
yes, but a better story.
Well, if it's interactive, then you're having to look close.
Right.
That's the
whole thing.
That's what makes it scary.
Yeah.
We've talked about Skinamarink in the past before.
Yes, we have.
Not a fan.
Not great, but there are similarities here that I think they were using some of these similar tropes.
Well, yes, Skinamarink was trying to use those same tropes, and just it doesn't work.
It doesn't work
in that format.
Right. So I think it would be worth just a little description of the video game.
Yeah, because I actually don't know what the point is. What are you doing?
When you start, you are the security officer at Fuzzy Fazbear's Pizza. You get a message.
Freddy Fazbear's.
Freddy Fazbear's, right.
Yeah.
the previous security guard calls in and is like, hey, you just hear like a voicemail because you can't really manipulate anything except I played number one. I think there are more things you can do later, but you can't really manipulate anything except you can turn a light on. You can shut the 2 doors to the security room.
Okay.
And you can look at your cameras. Those are the only things you can do.
Okay.
So, and you're supposed to just last all night. And so what happens is you get this message. It's like, hey, I'm the previous security guard. Here's the load. Here's what you have to do. Just survive. You'll be fine. Just don't, make sure you are judicious about using all of your equipment, because everything that you use, the light, the door, if it stays shut, the cameras all take power, and you have a certain amount of power that is that is depleting. So you have 100, you start at 100, and then as the night goes on, it gets depleted. And when it gets to 0, you can't use anything and all the lights go off. And then you're screwed. So you have to be very careful and judicious about when you're looking at the camera, when you're closing the doors, when you're shutting off the lights. And you have a little map that shows you where the cameras are in relation to you. But they are all the way, you look at the cameras and they're just all moving just kind of statically a little bit back and forth, just a little bit.
What are moving back and forth?
The cameras, they're just kind of
cameras.
pan just a little bit, just a touch. But other than that, it's just like a still where it's the furthest is you see them standing there. And then there's one with a curtain, and then there's the hallway and the lights flashing, so you can't really see it. And then there's they're fuzzy, and so you're just looking, and they're just not moving. Mm-hmm. And then you look at a different one because you're I don't know what I'm looking for. And then you go back, and then one of them's gone, and you're where the hell is it? And then you're trying to find it, and it's somewhere between the cameras. And then you go to the one where there's a curtain, and now suddenly the curtain's open, and there's a creepy fox in there that's just staring at the camera. And then you see the bunny, the shadow coming down the hall, and then I was just I don't even, what you don't even really see them move. They just kind of stop, and then you move away, you look away and come back, and they're gone or in a different place.
I guess okay, so it sounds like you're trying to survive this.
Yes, so you're trying to survive, and the only really way to do that is when they're on the way to pass you, because they're in free roaming around the place. When they're going to pass the security, you have to shut the door. But you have to have enough power to shut the door. So you can't be...
Does the door just automatically open again? What? Why isn't it just shut and stay shut?
Keeping... That's that the power is used when it's shut. When it's open, it doesn't use power. When it's shut, it does use power.
So when the power goes out, the doors are open.
Yes.
Got it. So you leave it open to reserve power.
You have to leave it open to reserve power, yeah. And so you have to wait till they show up, and you don't really know how fast they're going to go. And so I got to 0 power. All the lights went out. The doors chunked open, and then it's just dark. And then eyes light up in the doorway. It was just awful. Oh my God.
So very scary.
It was very scary. And it's just it's a really good trope where it's
I think there's
watching
about,
in cameras.
Yeah, there's
we talked about
horror
in X.
video games that that you don't have to do as much because you're interactive, because you are participating in it.
Yeah.
And yeah, switching between those cameras. Yeah, like we said with Saw 10.
Yeah, where it's you get to see yourself on the camera and watching a thing. Oof, it's so stressful because part of what's so stressful about it too is if you were in real life, you'd have the full faculties of your instinct and just senses, where they're trying to simulate that in a video game. And it's just I can't move from camera to camera fast enough.
Right.
And then also tap the button to close the door, and also try to like move the perspective. It's unnatural, and so it's just like even more stressful.
Right.
So that is the premise of the game. And in the movie, they, especially at the beginning, it feels very true to that.
Okay.
We have a lot of these camera, he's the security guard.
Security guard, we're following him. We get to the thing, we're looking in the cameras, we're like...
Yeah, and you get to see kind of like those flashes. And even when they're doing like a lot of the perspective...
Well, even that first night, he just kind of gets through it, right?
Yeah.
Like we, as the audience, look in the cameras and see that things are moving around and they're weird.
Right.
But I don't think he notices, like nothing's weird the first day for him.
Right.
Which is, makes sense that like,
yeah,
it hasn't gotten there. And what I think is interesting about, I don't know. So this movie's rated PG-13.
Interesting. Okay.
Which I think says a lot about when I heard that, I was like, that makes a lot of sense to me. Because clearly this game is popular with younger kids, so they wanted it to be something that they'd be able to go see.
Right.
And I mean, it's so far the highest grossing horror film of 2023.
Wow. Okay.
Because I presume because of the popularity of the game.
Yeah.
It's a huge following of people watching gameplay and people talking about it on different platforms, and kids just eat it up because it's like it's creepy and scary and it's
not like too scary.
But it is kind of.
It is kind of.
I do not think I would have played that as a child for sure. I was afraid of playing Zelda Ocarina of Time when the zombie skeletons pop up in the field.
Yes,
terrifying. You play that now, and I'm like,
Gibdo.
I am,
or Gibdo, depending on how you pronounce it.
Is that the ones in the field?
Yeah.
Those like ones?
No, those little skeletons.
The skeletons.
Oh my gosh.
Not
never
the
mind.
like,
never mind the Gibdos.
No, those were terrifying.
Those are horrible.
Those were really scary. But like I was even scared of like those stupid little skeletons popping up. Like that scared me.
That's funny.
It just the like.
They can surprise you.
Anticipate that, right? It's the surprise. And I just didn't want to. I didn't want to deal with it. It was very stressful.
This is, and this would
that's
not.
That's 100,000 times more.
Yeah.
I couldn't play those first person shooters that were like going through things and like I'm like this is terrifying.
Yeah.
This like perspective and you're just like slowly going through halls with and I'm like, no, I don't like this. It was like Doom. Was that like? I just remember watching adults playing Doom and I'm like, terrified by it, which is crazy to me. It's so strange.
Yeah. Like Resident Evil's kind of in that vein too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so scary. And it's like maybe as a kid I wouldn't have been as scared of it.
Yeah.
Other than like the jump scare bit, but like today now looking at those animatronics, it's like I mean, they're like somehow that's like even creepier to me.
The animatronics?
Yeah. Than if it was like a monster of some kind, Then like if it was just like, eye hands from Pan's Labyrinth was scary and terrifying, but like for some reason these like creepy, like
they were
puffy,
always,
bubbly.
Here's the thing, it's like we experienced Chuck E. Cheese as children, and those animatronics were not like super sophisticated.
Yeah.
The way they moved, the way they like very off-putting.
Eerie. Yeah. Yeah, they are so off-putting. But maybe as a kid I wouldn't have thought that so much, and now it's like today I
just wonder. I'm
sure.
curious about that because I feel like having that kind of experience makes those things creepier.
Yeah, but I remember liking Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah, I don't mean that you were necessarily like scared of them in the moment.
Yeah.
But like if you as a child were left alone in the dark with these robots.
Nope.
No, they would have been terrifying.
Yeah, that's awful. Yeah.
As a child, I think that would have registered.
Yeah.
You know, it's like being in a dark room with that, like,
With like a doll.
yeah, with a doll, with a porcelain doll. Terrifying.
We have no dolls. We have a Bert and an Ernie in our home.
Like, oh, you literally mean you and I.
You and I.
Do not.
We don't have any dolls.
We don't have any dolls.
Because we have like nutcrackers, but those aren't scary.
No.
But no porcelain dolls.
No.
Absolutely not.
Porcelain dolls. I did stay at a place that had, I'm at the room that I was staying in.
Oh, God.
Surrounded by porcelain dolls.
Oh, no.
And it was.
Oh, no.
It's unsettling. Like, it was fine. You get used to it. But, like.
Oh, yeah. Yuck. Yuck. Okay.
So like, I guess
so we've got
point,
the
looking at it as a horror movie.
Yeah.
As a horror video game, that's where its success comes in.
Yeah.
It is very scary. It is very, like you said, very scary, very stressful.
Yeah.
And clearly kids are looking for that kind of experience. I'm curious to see, like, if you're a fan of the video game and you're hoping to be as scared, I don't think you would be. But I'm not sure. It doesn't seem to be a deterrent.
Yeah, I think especially what I was reading just a little bit about the later ones, because now I think number 4 is out. That you get, that you get things like a taser and you get like an electric prod, and it's like there's like elements that are added to the game that are present in the movie. So it's like there's a lot of like homage, to the video game.
Well,
so,
I did a little bit of a dive into the lore because apparently the whole phenomena is like about a decade old, and there's many books and many video games around it. I don't know what kind of books, but that's what somebody said.
Interesting.
I don't know if they're like I imagine graphic novels. That's like some, like,
probably
fan manga. That's what I picture, but I'm not sure. I don't know very much about that. But I watched some of like the timelines and the lore, and there's obviously more to it than the movie.
Yeah.
We're not seeing the full picture in the movie, and I'm curious if they're going to. It seems also from the research that like they intend this to be a series.
Interesting. Okay.
Because there was an article that came up that was like Matthew Lillard is very excited to be part of another popular series again.
Oh, okay.
So, and I'm like, oh, this is intended to be more than
one. And if it's popular enough,
because like the ending of the movie left plenty to be continued.
Right. Yeah.
Of course, to me, that article spoils a little bit of I guess it hints at that character. Because at the end of the movie, that character is dying.
Dead or dying.
He's not dead.
Right. He's not dead yet, but
they don't show a lot of people actually dying in the movie.
Right.
I think partly because it's PG-13.
PG-13. It's a little scarier too when you like kind of don't know what's happened.
Yes.
Sometimes it can be scarier. Yeah.
But when you never show it, it's like, okay.
Yeah. Did something happen?
So I think, there's something about that article. I'm like, so he's meant to
stay alive?
Stay alive? Question mark?
Yeah.
And it does seem like through the lore that there's something else. There is even more going on.
Okay.
There in the lore though, there is nothing about dreams.
Interesting. Okay.
And I think that the piece about dreams feels like the piece that they used as the through line.
Yeah.
And the security guard specifically having a sibling who went missing.
Yeah.
Both of those things are are the thing that make it the movie and not the game, because neither of those things have anything to do with the game.
Yeah.
From what I've
Right.
researched. Of course, like I could be missing something. But
so in order to kind of make it a cinematic story, we needed some sort of narrative device.
Right. Well, we got because it's a video game, it makes sense. The hero is who you would be.
Right.
Of course, as a video game, you make that you.
Right.
That's always just the person playing.
Yeah.
Even when you're Zelda, they have you put in your own, or Link in Zelda.
Right.
They have you put in your own name most of the time.
Yeah.
So when characters are talking to you, they're using your name. That's that's the thing you do in video games a lot of the time. Not that there aren't video games where you're playing as someone else.
Sure.
But that's especially in horror, they want it to feel like you.
Yeah.
So they have to make a character, and it's someone made up.
Yeah.
And they gave him
the dreams.
They gave him dreams. So if we're looking at that story, his story arc, I think there is something interesting about man lost his brother, also trying to take care of another child.
Yeah.
Now having to deal with the ghosts of these other missing children.
Yeah. I think that it is very interesting. I agree. I think
the setup is
the setup of the movie. It's basically the first third of the film is I was in it. I was very, okay. It's a little bit weird and campy a little bit, but okay.
Yeah.
And I'm I get it. I understand all of these motivations. Everybody wants something real.
Mm-hmm.
The stakes feel real.
Yeah.
And not just the things are going to kill you, but the stakes about the personal stakes for Mike and Abby and everybody.
Yeah. They do throughout the movie sprinkle conveniences in quite a bit, because even at the beginning it's unclear about what the aunt's deal is in this. She's clearly sour about it, but they're oh, she just wants her for the check.
Right.
I'm that's never the full story.
No. And it just gave her short shrift. It would have been more interesting if she was mad at Mike for losing the little brother too, or he was a drunk,
a lot
or
more interesting things.
Yeah, there's so many more interesting things. Yeah.
Because it was at one point they Mike has to bring her in to help out.
Yeah.
Which I think is very interesting. That and it wasn't honestly not utilized.
No.
Skipped right over.
Yeah.
Very, very
because she was just a bad person.
She was just a bad person.
Yeah,
she was just a bad person.
She was just bad.
And it's not that she needs a full backstory of why she's doing these and feeling bad, but we can know that it's not that simple.
Yeah.
It'd be enough for her to be doing these bad things because she really just dislikes Mike for whatever reason.
She just doesn't want Abby with Mike.
I mean, it makes sense to me that after he beats someone up publicly at the beginning, that she would be absolutely not.
Yeah. This is not a safe place for a child.
There was something about the way she was acting in that first meeting in that child where I'm I think she would have flipped out.
Yeah.
I if the guardian of this child was just caught beating someone up in public, that'd be a pretty quick decision.
Yeah. And especially if you already kind of didn't think that they were fit to do it, right? It's my brother or sister's child is orphaned basically now.
And that's now that's a child.
The brother doesn't really have a great job, is beating people up, and I kind of don't like him. Yeah. I don't want him to have her. That would make perfect sense.
Right.
And you don't have to make her just a money grubbing.
No, it
was such a weak excuse.
Again, if I'm if we're looking at it through the lens of this is a children's movie.
Yeah.
If it's meant for children and they're just really simplifying, making them a little bit more archetypal than usual, I understand it, but I don't think it needs to. I think she's going to read as like a bad person, even if she's just like laying into him because she is just upset.
She's gonna read as at least misguided, because we know Mike and we know Mike's motivations, and we're rooting for him.
There's no way that like Child Protective Services wouldn't have like the brother who doesn't have a job, who just beat someone up, and that's your heart. Like they're already looking at that custody.
Yeah,
they already are on top of like that system would have been flagged, especially with the aunt coming in. Like she wouldn't be with him.
Right.
She would be in a place where they were until they figured out what was going on.
Right.
She would be pulled away.
Yeah.
That's.
Oh, yeah. So it was a little weak there. Also, I mean, the arc in general just like falls flat eventually. Mm-hmm. Like after about that third that I talked about, like the movie kind of takes a turn. And because we're like solidly in horror land for a little bit, and then suddenly we kind of know everything about the ghosts about halfway through, right? It's like, and we're friends with the ghosts, and they're making a fort with the ghosts, and Vanessa is like
I'm
guiding them
again. If they're making this a kids movie, they're saying to kids, the monsters won't hurt you. Yeah. It's giving these kids a little bit of a peace of mind. The kids actually have a little bit of power in this story.
Right. Yeah, it's true.
So
so the story kind of takes a turn. But I think the biggest problem that I saw was like there is a scene that takes place after like Abby gets hurt and Vanessa's like mad that he brought his sister even though they were just like playing like all night.
That she
was like involved in. Like she was like, do you want to dance? Do you want to play? Do you want to do I think it'd be fun to make this fort. And then when it gets like dangerous and she gets like shocked by something because she like touches the guitar, Abby does. And then as they're leaving, there's like a weird scene that happens in the parking lot where Vanessa like threatens to shoot him if he brings Abby back, which is like, it just doesn't match up with any of the rest of her behavior at all.
Right.
That it's just, it's like a totally unself-aware in a way that like this character is not. And then it's also like a really badly written scene that I'm like, did they have more and they cut it? Did I fall asleep? Did I miss something? Because it's like feels so out of place. And then
it is very strange.
Yeah.
Well, because it there's no hint at any point. It gets to the point at the end where she said, I tried to warn you about XYZ.
Yeah.
And I guess I'd have to rewatch it, but it feels like she's trying to convince him to stick
stay
around.
Yeah. She's trying to get him to like kind of be there and just keep quiet. Because they're not he's not intended to be murdered, I don't think.
No. I don't think so either. That's not the point. I don't know. That's part of what I'm unclear about with the other security guard.
Yeah.
Because it's not like, who knows what happened with that? I don't know if he found out too much or whatever.
Right.
Who knows? I have no clue.
Because it's like, they don't seem to be like ravenous for murder, really.
No.
Like at first I think that's what it is, but then it turns out that's not the case.
Right. And when those people break in, it makes sense.
Yeah, they start breaking things. The machines are like mad that they're there kind of messing up their home. Right. That made sense.
And or at the very least, like, because we find out later that the man in charge is like controlling them.
Yeah.
So it makes sense for, I don't know. It's really hard to tell like what he what he knows and what he doesn't know.
Yeah.
And that might be part of it too. Maybe when she's on site, she knows dad is watching.
Right.
So she's like putting on airs, but there are scenes where they interact outside.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she could have been a lot more candid about
what's going on. But
not even about what's going on, but to be like, maybe don't come back.
Yeah.
Maybe this isn't for you. And that's okay. Don't do it.
Yeah.
She does throw away his sleeping pills so that he would stay awake on the job.
Right.
Because she realizes it's dangerous, but
I don't understand what she's doing. Like, is she just like that loyal to her father? Like, it really messed her up that
really
much,
unclear.
I guess.
That's a big piece that's unclear too.
Yeah.
Is she acting out of fear? Is she acting out of loyalty? Is she acting out of whatever? I have no idea.
Yeah.
Or does she think she's I think she cares about those ghost kids and doesn't want I want to believe that she's trying to mitigate.
Yeah, she clearly has like a relationship with those things. They know her.
Yes.
And so it's like, if she blows the whole thing wide, they probably go too, and she like feels badly for these children who are kind of having some facsimile of life.
And clearly in the end, the dad, it's been established apparently that he's like, you won't shoot me.
Yeah.
And it's like, maybe it's happened before.
Right.
That she's tried to rebel, but like, I don't know. There's something, it's unclear that whole, I think that character is a big part of the problem of the movie.
I think so too.
And just the way it's written, I don't, like you said, I don't know what she's trying to do.
Right.
I don't know if they're clearly trying to paint her as like a good guy.
Right.
But I almost wish
I wish they just like kept her bad as a secret villain instead of a secret ally.
Not even like I'm a part of it.
But like, I want to help you, but I can't. I tried to help, and my hands are tied, so I could only do so much. I am compelled,
Yeah. I wish there was some more indication of what was stopping her from doing more.
Yeah. Yeah, same.
Because like the realization, so we find out at the end that she knows about the missing children, obviously. Yeah. And that when Matt started telling her the story about
Mike.
Not Matt. I am really good at names. Really, it's a talent of mine to just say all the wrong names. So Mike tells her this story about his missing brother, and we find out at the end that she knows about his brother because that's the other thing. I don't think we've mentioned it on this episode yet. But his brother is tied to these kids and the the bunny. What is the yellow bunny?
The yellow bunny guy, yeah, Steve.
He's the guy.
He's the guy that abducted and murdered. Yeah.
His brother.
Yeah.
And we find out that he's dead, like has killed him, and it's why he did it. Who knows? We don't know much more about that.
Yeah.
His brother is not one of the
kids
not
in
one of the ghosts.
Yeah, not one of the ghosts.
But
he's like in the dreams.
I did wonder if he had tried to make the brother a ghost.
Yeah, maybe.
And okay, See, we're finding all these like
I don't
weird
know.
holes
It's
with
like
the
a very
movie.
weird holes.
Like
And
the with the video game and with all the books and stuff, it allowed like all these books and video like over many years allows there to be some like weird plot points and weird lore that like come together to create this like strange video game. Because you're just like adding weird stories to like move the video game along, like and come at a new chapter, whatever. When you try to like put it all together in one movie, it just felt so strange.
Yeah.
I was like, is this it's just like, if you look at the video game and see like, okay, they're taking all these things from the video game, but then you look at them, that makes sense ish. But if you're looking at just the movie, you're going and just watching the movie, you're like, okay, it looks like they took tropes from 100 different kinds of horror movies and just like tossed them all at once. Yeah. Like there are
scary
ghosts, but it's also robots.
But it's also
dreams.
And it's also like magic, and it's also a serial killer.
It's also
it's
serial
like
killer,
all of those
culty,
things. Yeah.
A little bit culty, a little bit
it's so strange. And I think, as you say too, it's like if you are able to grow up with it, like you can tolerate all the weird because, well, you started with one and one is just robots. And then in two, you get a little bit more. And then you get a little bit more as you go instead of just being like, now here's everything. Because I'm like, what is
terrifying
happening?
with just animatronics.
Yeah.
That's it. It just like, you did not play that much, but from what you've described, just this like first scene
We're gonna
of
play
gameplay
it when we get home. I'm going to show you. Oh my goodness.
It sounds stressful.
Yes.
It sounds scary.
Yeah.
But all they need is a camera and scary animatronics.
Yeah.
That's enough.
Yeah.
Animatronic. I think for horror, having a creepy looking animatronic that moves inexplicably is horrifying.
Yes.
I think something about horror films that keep them scary is not knowing everything.
Yeah.
Even in the end.
Right.
We don't know everything.
Yeah.
That's what keeps things scary.
Right. And in this, we knew enough to kind of not be scared anymore.
Yeah.
You know? It's like halfway through, you know enough to not be scared. And as you say, it's for kids. And so
they give lots of moments of relief.
They do the relief.
Which is something that we've talked about. There is, you mentioned there's like a campiness about the movie, but there's a big, it feels like a missed opportunity in making this kind of a bigger, colorful, more campy experience.
Yeah. To like really go more.
Yeah.
Because it gets so strangely serious. And not that it should be serious, but I wanted more of the animatronics. I wanted more weird.
Right.
Like if we're going to be weird, make it weird. You know, really go
like a couple
for it.
Like they do like a weird kill where one of the animatronics bites one of them in half.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
Weird, unique.
It's the most interesting one.
Yes. It's the only one we really...
It's the only one we really see, and we don't see much of
shadow,
it.
Yeah.
That's how
silhouette.
they justified it for a PG-13.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a missed opportunity. And then as far as the story goes, there's another missed opportunity that I was thinking about when he's making his final decision and the big climax when he's like in the dream world and they're like, give us, you can have your brother back. Because he keeps seeing the same scene and now the scene is different. So he's realizing, I can interact with my parents and my brother now.
Right.
And kind of get all this lost time back. And they're like, yeah, in your dreams, you can see him every night. All we ask for is your sister. And then first he's like, yeah, okay. And then he's like, wait, no, never mind. I've changed my mind.
Because my sister's like the living version of my brother. Like what?
Well, and that's the thing is that I like the mistake here is that he was told point blank that this isn't real. The whole time until then, he's being told, I can bring your brother back. I can bring your brother back. I can bring your brother back. Or that's the implication is that we can get him. for you. Here, then they're like, oh no, you'll have him, but it'll be in your dreams. At which point he's got to...
I don't think he says every night, because I did think to myself, I'm like, wait, does he mean...
Does it mean he's going to kill you, or what is happening?
No, but I was wondering if it was kind of, because I agree with you, that something was like it didn't land. Something didn't land. And I think he said, you'll see it in your dreams. And I'm like, does he mean only at nights then? Or is he suggesting to keep him in the dream world?
Right. Either one, really. Yeah.
And even then I'm like,
I'm
not really sure what's his decision to stay. I don't know.
I just didn't believe it. One, and it's like if you want, that character needs to not know it's not real, that it's actually a monkey's paw, right? It's like he doesn't know that it's a monkey's paw,
right?
And if he doesn't know it's a monkey's paw and then makes the decision, no, my sister's actually in danger. He has to recognize the mistake he's making. So either he has to be like, I can have this thing, and something tells him like, no, this isn't like, he would be older than this. Something's not right about this. I have a sister. I got to go. But if he's making this decision knowing that it's not real, that would just kind of cheapen the decision to be like, well, fuck that. No, this isn't real. You lied to me. This isn't the deal. I'm leaving. But also making the decision to be like, yeah, you can take her. I'm like, what?
That's so strange.
All of this time you're like, no, I'm not going to give you to the aunt. She's only there babysitting you because I can't have you back in the place. I'm getting this job to like keep you, it's like to then suddenly be like, yeah, take her, even though I know it's not going to be real. I just don't believe that at all.
No, especially because he's looking to find the guy.
He's looking to find the murderer.
And that's the other thing. They didn't find his body. They didn't find so maybe
right.
He can find this person in real life.
Yes, right. They never found the body, so maybe he's still alive somewhere. If I can find the guy, I can find my brother.
I mean, so to just come out and say, hey, I know we're not going to give you that person's name, but we can facilitate this virtual reality where your brother's here. It doesn't feel right.
It's not the answer to what he wants.
Right.
His object of desire is not that.
I'm wondering what would have happened if they said, hey, you know how we're like real ghost people in your dream? You know who's also a real ghost person? Your brother. We can get the real, not this dream guy.
Yeah.
You know how you just had a whole interaction where your sister and you were playing with the real souls of these people in the real world?
Yeah. You can have that with your brother.
You can have that. It could be a lie.
Yeah.
It doesn't
but
have
that's
to be
so
real.
much more interesting.
But what an interesting concept.
Oh, I can have some piece of my brother. Yeah.
Like, and then, and even then that could be like, well, the idea and it have it be not just give us your sister, because that's insane to me.
Yeah.
There's no way he doesn't hear that and is like, well, I'm not going to give you my sister.
Right.
If they're like, yeah, just come and hang out with us.
Yeah,
here.
play. Let your sister play with us.
Let your sister come back.
They're not going to tell him that they're going to kill her.
That's something that I believe that he would agree to.
Yeah, he wouldn't think about it. He might, if he were wiser, he might be like, that's weird and suspicious. But if he's like, oh my God, I'm going to be able to see my brother in real life. Yeah.
If he doesn't know that there is a kingpin controlling these kids
right.
at this point,
right.
just thinks like, these are kids and they they're asking for their friend back, and that's the thing that he can give them.
Yeah. He would say yes.
He would probably say yes.
Yeah.
Even with the girl's like weird threat.
Yeah.
I just think that scene wasn't.
It just really didn't land
work
at all.
No,
not at all.
I didn't believe when he said yes to give up.
I was like, what?
His sister. I'm like, no, because you wouldn't trade your sister to just like hang out with the dream version of your brother. It doesn't make sense to me.
No.
There has to be something more real about those people.
Yeah.
Or at least his brother. Oh, we can tell you that your brother is dead and he's a ghost and we can get him.
Yeah.
Then it's like, wait, are you serious?
Really? Right.
That changes things.
Yeah.
Then it's changed.
Yeah.
Not, yeah, we can
like simulate your brother for you and your parents.
like
It's like, why is that good? Like, why would you want that?
Like, is this like you want to be there forever? You want to leave are you? I don't know. It doesn't make sense. I'm not sure what he's thinking in that moment.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it works.
It does not. And it's like, I guess I maybe could imagine it being like it was just so overwhelmed with the idea that he could interact with his brother again, even in this small capacity, that it was like a momentary weakness. I just like don't think that would have been satisfying.
Fine.
I don't think it would have been satisfying. It would have been like, this is not real. This is cheap. It's cheap.
I mean, he's pretty quick to be like, no, I'm sorry, what? No.
Yeah, which
he
also
is quick, which makes sense.
Yeah,
and I do like the like. I mean, it's just clear that he like touches his brother's hair and then just like sees his sister in it.
Yeah.
He's like, oh my God, I'm so stupid. I wish there was more of like, oh my God, I've also been neglecting her in pursuit of this, which wasn't really the case.
Yeah. Well, that wasn't,
it feels like that was like a lesson he learned.
Right. But that's like the missed opportunity. It's like, he's actually like really diligent with her.
He's actually fighting for her in the movie.
Right.
The looking for his brother narratively is a side plot.
Yeah. Right.
The action is him trying to keep his sister.
Right.
And he's trying very hard. In fact, maybe this is to the detriment of the storytelling. That character actually does a lot of great things in raising a child.
Yeah.
The way he interacts with Abby, the way he communicates with her they're really good. And they would have a pretty strong relationship based on that. I thought that was pretty strong.
Yeah. But that, as you say, to the detriment of the storytelling, because like when I think about what the story is about, is like we've got, of course, like, you know, the horror bit where there's monsters going to kill you, but then you have this internal story that's happening where he has this dark past with his brother, and it's a failure that he's trying to, like, as I've mentioned before, he's trying to kind of atone for this failure in the past. And
that a lot of horror, like that's the thing that's like gets in the way.
Right. And it's like, it actually wasn't really getting in the way.
It only did in the sense that he went back.
Right.
The only reason he went back was because that was the only way. He's like, those kids can find my brother.
Right.
I get that.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And it's like a physical representation of the neglect, you know, if you were to make that case where it's like he does choose his brother over his sister in that moment. But it's like it's kind of safe. It's not satisfying.
That's when he gets his aunt to come and watch
which is the interesting bit, right? And it's like, yes, Abby doesn't want her to be there.
He's doing too many good things for me to like see that he's learned a lesson. Because
you already know what you're doing.
I can do both of the things at the same time.
Yeah.
I can.
Right.
It's neglectful in that, but he's like left the sister with the aunt, so she's in good hands.
Right.
In case something were to happen.
Right. Granted, something does happen, but it is, you know, a monster and it's magic, so it's.
But it's not. There's not.
It wasn't just neglect.
Not like an accountability.
Yeah.
Or like, there's not enough of a flaw for that character.
Right. The flaw is that he's like down on his luck and had this horrible thing happen in the past.
It does
and
seem...
then he's like doing everything else right.
Does seem like he's like unlucky. And there's at one point where Abby even was like, why do people keep
looking at you like that?
Like mad at him. And
right.
And I'm like,
that's weird.
It does feel like he has some weird like curse or omen on him.
Yeah.
Which is a whole different
whole
trope.
Nother thing.
Because he's not doing things wrong. And he's not like, yes, he beat up that, like, that's interesting. He beat up that guy because he was just like quick.
Yeah.
And like things like that get in his way. But then there's not enough of that. There's like 2 moments where that happens. Like the 2 that we've already talked about. Knocking out the guy and going back when he realizes what's going on.
Yeah. Like I wish, like one way to fix it, I wish it was something like, you know, they on occasion have fun times, or she remembers having fun times with him, or at the very least hopes to have fun times with him, and he promises things and then doesn't show.
Right.
Or promises things and then has to leave.
There just needs to be something from Abby where she's trying to get some sort of connection with him that he is not doing.
He doesn't do it. He's takes a sleeping pill and he's asleep instead.
Great. Sleeping pill.
That what a great, you had the device already in the film. You took the sleeping pill and you fell asleep and you couldn't finish the puzzle with her or whatever because you were sleeping instead.
I mean, they're showing that Abby's difficult, but not that he is difficult, like Mike is difficult for Abby.
Right.
We need to see more conflict there.
Right.
Because even the way he handles Abby's difficulties, they're not even really that difficult. They seem pretty tame.
Yeah.
Like those are very normal. She's clearly gone through some trauma.
Yeah.
She grew up where her family, I mean, that's
it's
huge.
Like her family's like dealing with this abduction.
Before she was born.
Yeah. Because she's significantly younger than both of them.
Yeah. I mean, I bet you she was the,
This'll fix it.
Sad. Let's have another child.
We'll have another child to fix it. Fill that hole.
Horrible situation to be in. And they like hint at like they were different when they were the good, but they didn't get to the like, and they got weird.
Right.
Because with Abby, she only saw the weird.
Right.
Which makes sense. She has like these, it makes sense why she's like obsessed with, she has imaginary friends. She's drawing all the time. She's reclusive.
She
that all
deals
makes
with
sense.
adults pretty well.
She does. She deals with adults pretty well. But there's not enough like actual trauma response.
Right.
She seems like pretty well adjusted for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
so it just makes all of that last kind of act where we see them make all of their discoveries and learn all their lessons and you know, go the extra mile and make the sacrifices. The sacrifices don't really mean much because nobody really learns anything because everybody kind of already knew what they needed to do.
And you know what it could have helped that, I don't know, if there was, we didn't learn about the obsession with like the dreams and finding his brother for quite a bit.
Yeah.
If it did like it did make me go back and be like, okay, that makes sense why he punched that guy now. I get it. That is getting in his way, this obsession. But like, if that is the thing that like he has to learn, like,
you have to choose life instead of death, right? You have to choose to move forward than try to fix the past thing because you already have something in front of you.
Right.
That's the lesson.
Yeah.
Which he kind of already knows.
Right. If there was a reason, like he falls asleep at the job, which is like scary because we see scary animatronics,
right.
But not because it's like actually getting in the way of anything.
Right.
I'm like, well, why do I
care if he's sleeping?
Yeah.
Like if he was asleep and then like
you said, it would be a really easy fix if Abby wanted his attention and he was like, I have to sleep.
Right. Because like I was at work all night. Now I have my opportunity to do my dream thing to find my brother. And it's during the day when you want to play with me. Sorry, I got to do that instead.
Do you think that, I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Something popped into my head, and I'm wondering. He says, like, when he's offered the job at the beginning, he says, "I can't work nights."
Yeah.
I just assumed it was because of Abby.
That's what I assumed too. But later
now
on,
talking about this, I'm like,
no, it's because he wanted a dream to find his brother.
that didn't come across my mind until right now.
Yeah.
And then
That's interesting.
that's interesting.
But they, again,
Because
didn't use it.
Then we're seeing conflict between doing the thing for Abby
Right.
versus doing the thing to get his brother's
Right.
murderer / kidnapper found /
Right.
maybe find his brother /
But that's why it'd be interesting when you have the police come by and she's like, "You can't sleep on the job," and he's like, "Well, shit, now I have to sleep at home."
I honestly,
now
I
you've
thought
got
that was going to happen.
Yeah.
He's like, I have to go to
bed now,
sleep.
and so I can't spend any time with Abby. But it's to get my brother, so everything's going to be fine.
There's a missed opportunity around the babysitter too.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
I'm not sure either.
But
That
it
was a little
like-
weird.
But it was good at first. Like, again, like the first third of the movie where they're like,
She's kind of
yeah,
gentle
she's a really
and kind
interesting
and
character.
Yeah.
She like has these weird things that she says.
Yeah.
And you're like, I wonder what her deal is.
Yeah.
And like I liked the way they used her at the
Yeah,
beginning.
me too.
And I liked finding out that she was like this weird plant.
Yeah. By the ant. Yeah.
By the ant. And not that I think she could have, not gone along with that plan. I don't know. There's something like, I'm like, are you just trying to, do you really not care about him? But you're
Right.
not like mean enough to like, for me to buy that.
Right.
You do care about Abby.
Right. Yeah.
You're also like, they're these criminals not getting paid. And I know she's like, don't worry. I know where you live. I know you'll pay me eventually.
Yeah.
But also if she's like desperate for money, like she might, I know she doesn't want to, she's getting paid to investigate his stuff.
Right.
It's just a little too complicated.
Yeah, it is.
There's something
I mean, it would have been more
very
interesting.
interesting.
Yeah, there's something there about with the ant that would be interesting where it's like, if she weren't such an evil harpy and she was given a little more complexity, it'd be like, he doesn't know that the ant is paying the babysitter.
Right.
I know he can't pay
That's
you.
interesting.
I'm going to pay you and keep your ears open for anything because I want that girl. You know what it's like in that house. And the babysitter's like, well, it's not bad.
I want her
Right.
to have.
So I'm paying you.
I'm paying you. I want you to be the one to watch her.
Yeah. Because then you have like that, it's a little backhanded.
I like you as the baby, but also you're a good caregiver.
Yeah, you're a caregiver and you can do, you do the thing, but that makes it so much more interesting where she's like there because she cares about Abby and she probably cares about Mike too, but she's being paid by an antagonist of the story, right?
Right. Well, it could be very interesting if, like we said, if there was something likable about the ant, then she's torn between these people that she likes.
Right.
She likes Mike. She likes the ant.
Yeah, the ant just wants Abby taken care of.
If there's a moment where it's so easy to convince people that this violent man who is not her real biological parent, who
doesn't have
can only get a job working overnight shifts with a child.
Yeah.
It's so, you could just say that and be like, do you really think that's the best life for Abby? You'd get people on your side immediately. I'm sorry.
Right.
Like that's just the sad part about it. Even if Mike's the best parent,
Yeah.
they're going to, you can say just the facts of the situation. And people are jumping on the side of anyone else that has a more stable situation.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. Yeah.
And while that, who knows, the social worker, the caseworker who is like, I really think, I think
she
I
likes
wish she
you.
was like, I think that's very interesting. To have
That
a
is
caseworker
interesting.
that's like, yes, that she's fighting for you. I can see kind of past her deal. You do care about her. Abby really cares about you.
Yeah.
No kid would take into account whether or not she liked the other one, though. If it's a better situation.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a red flag if it's like the caregiver's like the friend, the buddy.
Yeah.
That is, I don't know. There's like a lot around that I'm like,
That's not really.
I'm not really sure that would go that way.
Yeah.
But if it were, I needed one like moment of reality. She was like, oh, why don't you try to get a job? Start there.
Yeah.
And not like a, hey, this is looking bad for you.
Yeah.
I know you.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked a lot. You care very much about her.
You really got to show it.
You
got to make it a
whole
priority.
Thing about her being like, look, she's drawing you. You are stable. You are the person that's keeping her sane right now. I do think you're good for her.
Yeah.
You are not good for her if you do not have a stable job. If you are, like, I can tell you are not sleeping well.
Yeah.
I think that is probably hinted at the beginning, but not explicitly spoken about. But
it's like the aunt is like, he hasn't slept at all. She says that.
Which, of course,
but it's just
again,
like it's like a throwaway line
because she's just like they paint her as this, like, she's just making ridiculous statements.
Right.
All she has to do is name facts.
Yeah. And she would be,
and she would sound like
she would
a bad
be the
guy.
Justified villain. She'd be the one that's like, well, she's right, and I don't want her.
How stressful
to
are
be
those
right.
movies where you're watching it and you're like, the villain has they are saying that they are absolutely
right.
correct right now.
They're right.
And it is so stressful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you're like, I don't know what to do.
And I know that they're the villain. I know they're the villain.
Yeah. It could have been very interesting. But there are, as we pick it apart, there are some interesting elements that have been spread out.
Yeah.
Because I literally, these are details that I didn't even notice until we were talking about it.
Well, that's the thing. That's like it set all of it up really well.
It did.
That first third set all of this up.
Third was pretty good.
And then when none of it got paid off.
Yeah.
That was really unfortunate.
Like small tweaks here or there could have done it. It
wouldn't take much.
Yeah.
Hire us. Get us in the room.
Oh my God.
We'll fix your movie.
Heard it here.
Oh man. All right. Shall we go to superlatives?
Let's go to superlatives.
Cool. All right.
Well, like before we get there, just like an overall.
Yeah.
As a movie, what do you think?
I did not like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
There are interesting concepts. I think they got too muddied.
Yeah.
There's something fun about it.
Yeah.
There's something interesting about the lore just in general.
Yeah.
So I'd be interested to see more.
Yeah.
But there's definitely big missed opportunities and kind of sloppy connective tissue.
Yeah. It's like the aesthetic is the only thing it has going for it.
We'll go to superlatives.
Yeah, let's do it. Oscar-worthy moment.
I mean,
the design,
Jim Henson,
right? Yeah.
his team. Those are Jim Henson puppets.
Fantastic. They're fantastic.
That blew my mind.
Wow.
I found that out. It was like, because I was like, they look amazing.
They do.
They look really good, terrifying, very creepy. And I'm like, at first I was like, is this really, really great CGI? No, because there ain't
real,
that great CGI.
I know. It's real puppets.
It's puppets. I love.
And they're good.
Love. Well, it just, the idea of having animatronics be the scary thing.
Yeah.
And have them be complicated and have some like saw-like mechanisms on the inside.
Yeah.
That is very interesting.
Yeah.
And to have some real puppetry.
Honest to goodness. And who better to call? Jim Henson. Nah. I think we agree on our, we've given 2 Oscars. I mean, that's my superlative. I mean, it's the design is like hands down.
The aesthetic. It's like very
those
It did
puppets
take me
are
a minute
really
to
cool.
realize that it was like clearly, late 90s, maybe early 2000s.
Oh, for like the
setting,
film,
just like
yeah.
the setting, yeah.
I caught it pretty early when they were answering cell phones. Like one had like a brick phone,
Wow.
and the brother had like a razor, and I was like, it is like late 90s, early 2000s. That's when this is right now. Because nobody has
I just wasn't paying that close attention.
and
or
I
something.
think I think they did that because
the things
just
that
like
happened
the-
in the 80s.
yeah, the things happened in the 80s, but it's also like the surveillance would have been much easier.
Yeah.
If you have cell phones and all these other things. It's just they had to
Right.
kind of like,
I do like that.
Yeah, they
I
had to
do.
dumb down the tech.
I don't love some of the workarounds they do in contemporary movies with things like that.
yeah.
They feel a little bit forced a lot
Yeah,
of
it's
the
like
time.
a cell phone could do that. So you got to put it sometime when there isn't a cell phone.
My cell phone isn't working.
Yeah.
I'm like,
It's like, okay.
I see. Yeah, you have to do that.
Unless
Because
it's bodies,
otherwise that
bodies,
would be
bodies,
like-
I don't buy it.
Well, Freddy Fazbear is special.
It is special.
It does it well.
So good. Yeah.
It's nuts that movie is. Yeah, so that's the superlative. I think
yeah. Yeah.
that's something.
Oscar worthy. Truly. Wow. That design. Really awesome.
The puppets and I mean just the aesthetic of the movie, but
Yeah.
the puppets I would specifically give to the puppet design.
All right.
It's not the first puppet design Oscar I've given.
No. I mean, if they're good puppets.
It makes a huge difference.
Yes.
A lot more buy-in. It's one of those things where I'm like, there are things that I forgive because that is
There's a real puppet.
good.
Yeah.
Like story things that I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't care
Yeah.
because you.
I just
gave me
wanted
this,
to
like,
see
fun
more of them.
exploration.
That was like,
Yeah.
I felt there wasn't enough. I wanted more of the puppets.
I wanted more of them doing scary things.
Yeah, same.
And the scary things mostly happened to people that weren't the main characters.
Yeah.
The biggest horror scene was when the robbers came in.
And I'm like, they're
did that,
the
and I'm
bad
like,
guys.
well, I'm not,
They
like,
deserve it.
Afraid of them.
Yeah.
And again, kids movie, I think
Yeah.
there's like very little time where we feel the main characters in danger by the puppets.
Right.
Very, very
Very little. Yeah.
unearned.
Unearned.
What is your
We
unearned
talked about so
moment?
many.
I know.
Unearned. I mean, it's the, if you bring her back here, I'll shoot you line. Like, that's just like, that came out of nowhere. It made absolutely no sense.
Yeah.
And
I do think
that
the-
whole
the
character is just like unearned.
It's really, I think I didn't finish saying this earlier, but like that she knew his brother was, and that he was only going back to dream about his brother
Yeah.
and didn't say like, actually know what happened to your brother and who did it and you need to get out. Like I get it. I get that
Yeah.
that's a lot for her
Yeah.
position, but also like it just like makes that a little bit more fucked up.
It sure
When,
does.
when it's revealed that she's like, oh my God, she's like, there's a picture of her holding
his
the
brother's,
plane.
the toy that his brother was holding. Like, that's real icky.
That's disgusting.
That's real
it's
icky.
horrible.
And they just really handled her so badly. It's just not a good character.
I wish she was like, I don't know. I wish there was more mystery to her.
I want her to be a secret villain. She needs to be like really involved in helping, and then you find out later she's bad.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted. Want her to be like, oh, we got to figure out what's going on. We have to figure it out. And then turns out she's like, I'm so sorry. I do like you.
I mean, she can be a
but I
secret
can't.
ally too, but
Yeah.
then you have to kind of go the opposite direction.
Right. Or there has to be something with, she confides in him and is, talks about how like, well, my father was really abusive and, it really like irks me when children get hurt. And then having maybe a scene in that last battle moment where Abby is in the hit or something, or like her father's like threatening Abby and she's like, I can't actually handle that. I actually can't watch that. And I'm going to defend this little girl.
Yeah.
that would be a turn, right? It's like I know
Yeah,
I was
there could
here
be a lot of
initially
things,
to help him, but
the whole
now
point is like
it's
that whole arc with her needs a pretty big overhaul.
Yes, yeah, it's nasty.
Yeah, there's something. I mean, like it is really interesting. Like that is a gross discovery where we find out that like she knows about it, and that I don't know if she interacted with that child, but like.
It's
She's
really
interacting
icky.
with his toy. Like that was
It's
gross.
like blech.
Ugh. Which is effective in being gross.
Yeah,
Obviously.
Yeah. You got one?
Yeah. I mean, I guess. Well, I talking about the puppets. If I stay on track with the puppets.
Yeah.
They're animatronics. They move around, and I know that there's ghosts in these puppets. There's the Cupcake. Cupcake, great visually, awesome, creepy.
Yeah.
Is it its own kid? No. There's not an extra Cupcake kid.
No, yeah.
So what is controlling that Cupcake? Also, all the animatronics move like animatronics. They're controlling real life robots and walking around in the real world
this thing is just
as
flying.
Very high functioning robots.
Yeah.
But this thing floats around, flies around. It's not, they didn't show a way that it would move.
Be able to move,
and how would it, like, even if it was like undulating, it would need the mechanisms inside of it to do it.
Right.
They just talk a lot about the like advancement of the machinery.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why they're able to do these things.
Right.
And why
What is
do
that thing?
And they give like this Cupcake.
It's weird.
There's another moment that I want to talk about.
Okay.
But I think we can build it into another superlative.
Okay, great. Because I did want to mention that was one thing that did confuse me, because there are 5 kids and 5 robots.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, so then one of them might be the Cupcake. But now I'm like, wait, that leader kid is the murderer guy, right?
I don't know. Well, okay. So after watching stuff about the lore,
Yeah.
There was something hinted at in there, and I'm not really sure what it is.
Oh,
so that it seems like they're
so
setting
we're
something
just-
up for a future. I'm not even sure what it is. Like there was
So
something
the
hinted at
Cupcake
there
has
that I was
no.
like,
The Cupcake has no ghost.
no, I don't think it's the Cupcake for sure.
Okay.
Because they were clearly doing something where we're like, what is that?
Yeah.
Who is he?
Right. That little creepy kid
And I
that's
did,
making the deals.
think that it was somehow the dad.
Dad, yeah, same, but it might not be.
Watching the lore, I'm not sure that I was correct on that theory.
Okay.
Based on that, but of course, like that
But I
doesn't
don't
mean
know.
it's
Yeah.
It gave hints of like, is that the same? Is that the ghost of? But how is that? There's something.
Right.
There seems to be a question and mystery about that kid specifically.
Okay.
That hasn't come to fruition.
Got it.
In the movie, at least.
Okay.
I don't know about again, I didn't take that much time on the lore.
Got it.
Just I've watched some very quick recaps of things.
Other superlatives.
Scariest moment.
I was gonna say like creepiest of the animatrons.
Okay. Is that?
We could do both, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, do they have
so
to be?
scariest moment.
Do we only have to do one of those?
I mean,
let's do the animatronics. That's
okay.
quicker.
The creepiest one. You go first.
Was the fox?
Oh wow, I hate Chica, the duck.
Chica.
The duck freaks me out.
The duck. Yeah, that's pretty creepy.
She is so weird.
Teeth. The duck has teeth. Is that correct?
Yeah, they all yes.
Well, that's part of it. Is like that's unnatural. Like
Oh
ducks,
God,
like
I hate that
a bill
thing.
with teeth.
Oh, it's horrible.
Is Chica the one with the cupcake?
Yes, Chica
Yeah.
holds the cupcake, which is also like weird when the cupcake's not moving and she's just like, I'm like, the cupcake has eyes. This is so strange.
Yeah. I don't mind it being like a like the cupcake's part of it. Like I like the cupcake.
Yeah.
I wish
The movement of the cupcake is weird.
I
agree with you, but I think Chica is the creepiest. I know the fox is scary and like has like skeleton legs and no eye, but like No, it's that duck really freaks me out.
I don't know. The fox is creepy. Maybe it's because I'm like, they really, I can't imagine the child who who is Chica.
Yeah.
But the kid who was the fox.
It's like the little redheaded kid.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
That's part of it. And I don't remember Chica doing anything.
Maybe that's what's freaking me out the most about it. It's like Chica didn't do anything, didn't do much. I don't know. I was just like that. There's some evil.
The fox seems like really unhinged to me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. The fox is a little unhinged. It's got that hook.
The hook.
Like all the rest of them are kind of intact, and then you've got like this weird hook fox.
I'm like, that one's dangerous.
Yeah.
Like, the other ones are like, they're creepy looking, but that one's just dangerous.
Yeah.
But that's what I would say. So scariest.
Okay, scariest moment.
I guess this is my excuse to talk about the moment that popped in my head. The most effective horror, because like they're during the scene where they're getting chased by the animatronics, the bad guys, the robbers, I guess.
Yeah.
They're just destroying everything. I mean, it's like filled with, I'll run this way instead of that. Like all the horror things, like, why are you doing that?
Yeah.
And then the cupcake is sent into the office through the vents.
Yeah.
And again, like putting aside my skepticism about the movement of the cupcake, to stop the cupcake from getting through, he has to push all of his body weight onto the vent to close it.
He has to get so close to the thing.
His face is this far away from this cupcake that's like smashing itself in. And that is such, I think that is such a, it's an evocative.
Yeah. That's so
device
effective.
that they use in horror films, where like to save yourself, you have to be so close to the thing that's like attacking you.
Yeah.
It's like, but like, what if it goes through the grates, or what if it like, there's like something that it's very scary about like having to get close to it.
Oh, you've got like 3 millimeters of steel grating between you and the thing.
That was like one of the scariest moments. It was like the best use of horror in that movie, I think.
Yeah. I think that might actually speak to why Chica freaks me out, because she's the one that like puts the cupcake in there. But there's that scene where he's watching them put the cupcake in the grate, but they're like they like do it and then they look back into the camera. All the camera work stuff is creepy to me.
Yeah, a lot
and it's like,
of looking into the camera.
That first moment where they actually move and they're like, bonk. I'm like, oh, nope. Yeah.
So do you have a scariest moment?
That was it. When they look in the camera.
Oh, when they look in the first time, they're like, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Oof, it's horrible.
Yes. Looking at, I don't think it's looking directly into security cameras.
Yeah, no.
It's scary.
Yeah. I don't want that.
I'm aware of you.
I know. Well, that's the thing that's like, especially not knowing that there's actually like consciousnesses in these things, like that are humans at the beginning, where it's just like, why is it looking at the camera?
Right.
There's something almost like less scary about the fact that they're like ghosts than if it was just like machines that were conscious. I don't know.
Yes, I'd said that too. That I think like all they have to do is be scary animatronics,
and that would be enough.
That are inexplicably moving.
Yeah,
that's terrifying.
That's enough. Yeah,
that's enough for it to be scary. Of course, like they just added so
many things.
Much.
And you even mentioned they added like Saw stuff too, where it's like you get like put into like weird Saw.
Like the animatronics are.
They're trying to put you inside them.
You can wear them.
Yeah.
But also
there's like weird blades inside. I don't know.
It's I am a little bit unclear.
Unclear. Very weird.
Very weird.
Anything else? Any other
superlatives?
I don't think I've got one.
No.
I think we've done it. We've done it.
By George.
By George. That is Five Nights at Freddy's.
Freddy's.
Thank you
Freddy's.
all.
You couldn't remember the bear's name. It's literally in the title.
It's in the title, I know. Five Nights at Freddy's. Oh my God. Thank you all so much for watching our show, which has a name. It's called Two Grooms, One Plot. Two Grooms, One Plot. Thank you so much. Follow us on all the social medias. Like and subscribe wherever you can. Tell your friends. And thank you to you for listening/watching. Thank you to Chicago Podcast Studio for all their production help. And we'll see you again soon. I am Pavi Prochko. And remember, if you ever need a puppet, just give Jim Henson a call.
And I'm Colin Funk. And remember, sometimes robots are creepier without ghosts inside of them.
It's true. All right. Bye.
Goodbye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Two Grooms, One Plot, a Pavitas Productions project, hosted by Colin Funk and Pavi Prochko. This podcast was produced by Chicago Podcast Studio. Our opening cartoon was created by Gloriu, and our theme song was composed by me, Pavi Prochko. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite listening platform. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at Two Grooms, One Plot for updates on new episodes and behind-the-scenes content. If you have any feedback, comments, concerns, or kudos, you can email us at twogroomsOneplot@gmail.com. Please rate and review us wherever you can. It would help us out a bunch. Thanks again for listening, and we'll catch you next time.